why don't we just, give these guys some highlights of your journey? What are some of the things you're most proud of?
So most proud of would be getting our first property.
Absolutely.
That was a big milestone for us. Um, Building and nurturing the relationships with our landlords that we work with.
You've been really, that's something that's been a real strength of yours, to be honest.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's been really key. And we got to superhost very, very quickly
I
after
remember.
our first property.
Smashed it.
Yeah, our properties are guest favourite on Airbnb, for example. And yeah, we're on property 4 at the moment.
Property 4.
Yeah, property 4. We have had a couple of opportunities come up that weren't right for us, but we've got, we're looking at number 5 at the moment. So
Yes, yes.
yes, it's exciting.
I mean, I can obviously kind of relate to you on that one when it comes to building relationships, because that was actually one of the things that was maybe my key to success. I had a landlord, one of my first ones from when I first rent to rents, and he was a portfolio landlord. And I just wanted to demonstrate to him, like you said, it's not necessarily just about the other side, the guest or the tenant side. It's about obviously providing a stellar service to the landlord too. And if you do that, you do get to the point where you're their go-to person.
Yeah.
They pick up the phone to call you. A property's vacant, they're giving you the call first. And that's exactly kind of what you have now, right?
Yeah, that's particularly with one of our landlords. And then that kind of escalated to him recommending us to other people and having those calls. And that's kind of grown from there. So I think that is definitely key to this. It's building the relationships with the landlords that you work with.
100%. And it's crazy because that's what I say to the students as well. Sometimes, like, it may take a long time to get that one connection, but sometimes that one connection is all you need. And then things can like sprout from that. Like you said, the landlord's now recommended you to other people via word of mouth. I mean, listen, look, if you're someone who does good business, your business will grow.
Yeah.
You can't do good business with bad people. That's what it is. So if you're someone who's, who puts their best foot forward, does everything the right way,
Yeah.
Then your business is going to flourish.
100%. Yeah. I think it's all about the people. And yeah, it's like we just touched on. It's not just about the guest experience. It's about that landlord experience as well.
So listen, obviously, as you said, you're working on property number 5 now, which I know is a banger. What's next? What's next for you? What does the future hold?
Well, we're sourcing at the moment.
Okay.
So that's definitely a direction we're going to go in. Because we have the connections now and we are getting properties brought to us. We had a block the other day. Someone reached out to manage a block. So we'd be silly not to. So that's the route we're going down. We're able to negotiate good deals with our landlords in terms of like grace periods, certain bills being included, either zero deposit or half price deposit, things like that. So yeah, that's the benefit of the relationships with the landlords and what we can offer now other investors.
I love it. You might even find me knocking at your door trying to. I might buy one off you.
Your eye on one of them already.
100% I do. 100% I do. But listen, this is what I love about this business. It's not just HMO or Airbnb.
Yeah.
There's so many strategies within this property management, deal sourcing, and it's about evolution. You might start off doing one thing, and you keep growing. You might be managing a block soon enough. That's the transition. That's what it's about. Okay, so obviously, I'm gonna have to go there. I speak to a lot of people, on a daily basis that are considering mentoring. They really want to get involved, but for whatever reason, there seems to have built up this kind of like skepticism. Maybe what they're seeing, Instagram, online, maybe people not being necessarily that genuine. Maybe people who aren't actual practitioners still. Or maybe even people who are, doing the whole guru thing, but then they have like a paid employee who actually goes on and coaches you, which is something I could just never stand for. That's inauthentic as far as I'm concerned. But still, people, they are skeptic. So, I mean, I don't know, like, is there any kind of advice or maybe any light you could shed on, what mentoring with me is like?
Yeah, sure. First of all, like, it is difficult to decipher out there who's genuine, who can, prove that they're doing it. When we first came across your page and we started working with you, what was really important before we decided to sign up was, can you demonstrate that you're already doing it and you've built a success within property down this particular route, which you were able to do. So that's been really key for us. also being able to have that access. You know, even just, for example, the other day when we're looking at optimizing our listings, that session was really useful just to quickly, you know, we've hadn't done a session for a while because we didn't need it, but then we reached out and we were able to very quickly set something up, just run through everything. So it's been great to have you at the end of the phone when we need to, and I think that's invaluable. We wouldn't be where we are if we didn't have that access, I don't think. And your willingness to come down and look at the properties and give that advice. So I think anyone that's sort of querying it, Dean can deliver. So
You heard it here first, folks. Yeah. People, they might search or type in something into Instagram relating to Airbnb, rent to rent, and one other thing. Then they get bombarded by, you know, the algorithm just goes crazy, right?
Yeah.
I think they get overwhelmed. They're obviously looking for something genuine, you know. So it's just trying to help them kind of see and find that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you have to kind of wade through a lot of, you know, people that are just trying to get a quick buck with like genuine, like knowledge, experience, and the right morals, like that aren't gonna, you know, are just trying to, you know, I always have felt that you genuinely want us to do well.
Yes, which I do. It's the facts.
Which really makes a difference, I think. You don't feel like someone's just trying to make a quick buck off you.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, what I found is, you know, like with the partner program, with the blueprint, like with this form of mentoring, there is no need.
No.
There is no need to have this quick buck mentality. Like, it's not about that. I love the fact, like, me and you are basically friends now, you know. We can do business together, opportunities. You know, it's fantastic. You're a competent property professional, so am I. And we're just working together. And I don't know, I feel like you can go so much further in life that way, building a network of people that, you know, you can trust and work with. Yeah. And, you know, who do what they say they're going to do. So
exactly. That's the best way to do business, I think,
100%. And as you know, I like to be super genuine, you know, super transparent. Of course, you're flying now, but 100% there must have been challenges along the way.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, I would say just initially getting the first property was a challenge, almost to the point where you kind of give up because they're, you know, constant calls to agents, you know, you're on open rent, Gumtree, wherever else. So that was a challenge. So that was a real success when we got the first property. Other challenges, you know, kind of like, okay, getting a good cleaner, things like that, you know, just the operational side when you're like, right, you want to systemize everything and kind of step back. We're good now, but that can take a few goes to get it right. And also, I would say just preparing yourself. Like at first, I was really nervous about the amount of rent we had agreed to.
So many people are, you know.
Yeah. I had so much anxiety around, oh my God, like this is, you know, over 10K worth of rent we need to have.
Yeah.
Like, what is, you know, what are we doing? But now I'm like, oh yeah, just sign up the next one. I don't even think about it. Yeah, I'm like, I've got loads of faith that I know it's going to work.
Yes.
But saying that, we knew Jan, Feb, March was going to be difficult, and we never had to put any extra funds in, so that was good.
Because you're a pro.
Yeah, and we were booked and stuff, but it was challenging. And just to compound that challenge, we decided to like take on our most expensive, largest property in December, knowing that we had no bookings, and January, February, March was
take some
corner.
cojones.
Yeah, looking back now, I'm like, what was I thinking? But actually, it has paid off. And then we, just to make it even worse, we then decided to take on a property on I think we picked up the keys like the 1st of March.
Yeah.
So, and we still made it through. We still have bookings, you know, it hasn't, we've still managed absolutely fine. And now we just have faith that we know, we saw the bookings last summer, even when we were only on like 1-2 properties at that point. So I'm not concerned about it. I wasn't concerned about it.
I think that's what it is. I think by taking action, that's what kind of builds that sense of faith in the process, the faith in the system. you know, you have to take that leap.
You've
you
got
know?
to take, yeah, absolutely. You've got to take the risk, and have that faith that you know it's going to work. I mean, I had it from the year before, but yeah.
Yeah, because your first unit was like booked. I remember like you showing me your calendar, and you were
Yeah,
like
it was
just booked.
crazy. I
Yeah.
was so shocked. We got the keys second week of July, I think,
Mhm.
and then it's just been
Just
booked ever
booked
since.
all the way through.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
5-star reviews, like really good.
And that's obviously the power when you do your due diligence. You know, this is the whole part. This is what I say to people. This is a
Yeah.
numbers-driven business.
Yeah.
The due diligence you do at the start is key. You
Yeah.
know, that's where you really make your money.
Absolutely.
And if you get that part right, you know,
Mm.
it could be beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, now you're a property pro, right?
Almost.
In your opinion,
Yeah.
what do you think makes a good deal?
What makes a good deal? First and foremost, location.
Mm-hmm.
Close to amenities. Knowing. So, I think there's like certain types of guests that you would have,
Yes.
and you know, whether it be contractors, corporate clients, insurance, or tourists, or whatever. If you can hit at least 2 or 3 out of that group in one location,
Mm-hmm.
that's good.
Yep.
If the property is not on the ground floor, does it have a lift?
Yep.
You know,
Can work without it, but
can work
I
without
know
it.
what you
One of
mean,
our
yeah.
properties is on the 3rd floor. It doesn't have a lift. It's
Yes.
fully booked.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think that's something that we had to consider
Yes.
before we took it on,
Mm-hmm.
and making that really explicit in your listing. What else makes a good deal? If it comes furnished, that helps. You know, we've been really, really lucky with our landlords that
You've
they've been
been
furnished.
so damn lucky, honestly.
Literally call them and say, "Can we have this?" I mean, the other day when we got the fourth one, we were like, "Can we have all new mattresses?" Yep, sure.
Oh,
So like,
that's a dream.
yeah, we have literally haven't had to buy hardly anything. We've been really lucky. So if you can get something that's furnished, if you can get any bills included,
Yes.
that's always good. If you can get out of the deposit or at least pay half.
Mm-hmm.
If you're able to get a grace period, so
Grace
you've
period,
got that time
100%.
to set up, that really helps. I think that's it. And I guess thinking about when you arrive to the property, is it somewhere that you would be happy to turn up and stay if you were to book?
100%.
Yeah, so things like that. And if there are you know, we've looked at some properties that there's a few questionable points, which we've really had to think about. And I think as long as you're explicit and as long as you do your research and you know what else is in the area, I think, yeah, they're my key points, I would say. I think it's important that when you have a deal in front of you and you look at how much rent it is, first of all, that we want to make sure that they're not over pitching it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't think rent should be an ultimate sticking point if you're confident in the property itself.
100%.
Because you do get back what you put in.
Exactly. This is what I try and tell the students.
Yeah.
I'm saying sometimes they you know, they want to aim really low. Maybe it's like their risk tolerance, whatever it may be. But I'm saying like the bigger the property, better amenities, you're going to get back what you put in, like double.
Yeah, definitely. Like a couple of our units have got aircon, for example, and they're a bit more expensive. But oh my God, so many people that are looking for aircon, you know, especially coming into the summer months. So yeah, I think sometimes it's worth paying that extra to get that certain finish. It will definitely impact your bookings, 100%.
100%. You can charge more in terms of average nightly rate.
Absolutely.
And then, yeah, like in terms of occupancy, you're going to see a higher occupancy.
Yeah. So I think don't be too risk averse when it comes to rent, as long as they're not kind of punching too high based on their location. Then I think, yeah, just have confidence in what you're doing.
Okay, so I guess right now you're a bit of an Airbnb queen, right? Would you consider going over to HMOs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to diversify our portfolio. We've you know, met a couple of landlords that have HMOs that we're kind of talking to at the moment. So yeah, absolutely, we'd go over to HMOs. Yeah, that's kind of looking back now, looking at the two. I wouldn't pick one over the other. I think it is good to have a mixture. Definitely, you want to spread that risk essentially, and it's good to learn different strategies. So yeah, I'd be open to that.
Okay, so I think you're one of the few people, such as myself, that spent and invested money in courses first and then invested in mentoring after. What would you say was the reason why the course kind of never really went anywhere for you, or you never had the success you wanted to until you started mentoring with me?
One of the courses that we did was around a different strategy,
Okay.
to be honest. And yeah, again, we kind of hit a wall because I think we really needed that mentorship. And then we did like a shorter course in the service accommodation. And to be honest, a lot of what I learned, I'd already kind of picked up watching YouTube videos and things like that anyway. The difference for us was being able to have that contact with you and be able to kind of walk through the process.
Yes.
And reassured and, you know,
And
basically
nudged.
given the blueprint and saying, this is how you've got to, to do it. Yeah, and nudged and kind of, yeah.
I remember you needed a bit of nudging. I can remember now, actually. When I'm thinking back, there's a couple of times you were a little bit hesitant.
Yeah, hesitant, concerned, like, is this going to work? What are we doing? And I just had to think, no, okay, just trust Dean that we just need to follow the plan. And yeah, here we are, 4 properties in. So
5. That finds us.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yes, and a deal sourcing business about to be blooming. So
Yeah. It's been challenging with working as well. I think I would have got a lot further.
Yeah, what about that actually? Because I mean, this is also another thing. I think a lot of people say, can they do this business alongside a 9 to 5? And I mean, you're still doing a 9 to 5, so shed some light on that.
Yeah, I work full time still at the moment. I've got, it has been challenging, but not as challenging as I probably thought it was going to be. It's helped that I do it with my partner, so it's made things a lot easier. But yeah, it's definitely doable, 100%.
How many hours a week would you say that you dedicate towards your property business?
I was probably spending 10 hours a week in total. And then when you showed us how to systemize, then it's dropped down. I'm probably spending maybe like 4-5 hours a week.
Okay, cool.
If that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No.
not much. And sometimes maybe not even that actually. Obviously now we're looking at property 5 and we're going to start scaling up, then I'll invest a bit more time, but yeah.
I think that's the beauty though, right? Once you know how to systemize, yes, okay, there's more work at the beginning when you're taking the property on and so on and so forth, but then it just adds into the system and becomes,
Exactly, yeah. Once you've added it into what's already running, then it's so much smoother than the first. Yeah, you could just...
100%.
Yeah.
Listen, I always ask this question, what was the reason you chose me as a mentor?
I'd say the 3 key points why we chose you was you have been doing it since 2019. So we knew you had the experience. You're still doing it now, so you've still got your own properties, so you're not just, trying to sell a dream.
Yep, as some people are, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And also that the mentoring is done by you. You don't sign up and then you get passed to someone who's not as experienced. It is literally you are on the other end of the phone.
Yes.
I don't know any other mentors that do that, to be honest.
Yes. Hey, listen, I mean, I think it's important. I'm just trying to be the mentor that I wish I had have had.
Yeah.
And getting passed about, I don't think that's fair. If you've seen someone, particularly online, and you want to work with them, you should get to work with them. That's the whole point. So that's something I'm always going to make sure that I do. Another thing that I always get asked by students potentially considering signing up, like, can they speak to a real person? Can they speak to somebody who's actually worked with me?
Student.
Yeah, on a one-to-one basis. So I'm just going to ask your permission now. Like, do you mind if I, throw your handle in here and link you up?
That's fine. Reach out. I'll give you an honest opinion.
All right, so I'm going to give you some quick this or that style questions, right?
Okay.
Just to finish off.
Yep.
Furnish from scratch or use the landlord's existing setup?
Landlord's existing setup, if you can, if it's good enough.
1-bed apartments or 3-bed houses?
Depends on the location and clientele, but probably 3-bed houses.
Professional photos or phone snapshots?
Professional photos.
Always. That's a good one. Dynamic pricing or flat rates?
Dynamic pricing.
Hell yeah, buddy.
Always.
Direct bookings or platforms?
Ideally direct bookings, of course. Yeah. Always.
Higher occupancy or a higher nightly rate?
Well, it will level itself out, ultimately, wouldn't it?
Oh, I don't know, but listen, if you're getting 500 plus per night.
Yeah, higher rate, because that's set, essentially, whereas occupancy, you can put the work in to increase that yourself a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm. Welcome snacks or welcome wine?
Neither. We do a welcome pack, but yeah.
Netflix and chill package or premium coffee station?
Premium coffee station. That's what we get asked for most. So definitely put a coffee machine in your units, people.
You heard it here first.
Yep.
Keypad entry or lockbox?
Keypad entry, ideally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But with a lockbox as a backup.
Yes. Early check-in or late check-out?
Only if you can accommodate it and charge for it.
Yes, always charge for it. Hotel style setup or a homely vibe?
A bit of both, but hotel, we like the hotel amenities.
I was
That's
about to say
definitely worked for us.
Yeah, that's the look you've gone for,
Yeah.
for sure. Rent to rent model or full property ownership?
Rent to rent.
Why?
Why buy when you can make money off other people's property?
I mean, that's about it, right?
It's a little lower investment, yeah.
Lower investment, higher return.
Exactly.
100%. City centre or quiet suburb?
Both could potentially work if you're targeting it right, but yeah, busy centre is good.
Go all in on Airbnb or diversify?
I think that's a personal decision. We want to diversify, but I know people that have gone all in one strategy and it has worked for them. So either or, I don't think it would matter.
So listen, if you'd like to build a property business where you could be making job replacing income in just a matter of months, you'll find the link in description below, and you can find my social media handles, Instagram @Mr. Dean Frost. Reach out and we'll have a conversation.